Hey, it's Jazz here from thebassmastermind.com, and today I'm really excited for you to watch this video because what you're about to watch is a 7-day technique challenge, and this is specifically designed for bass guitarists. So this is actually a full course that used to be inside thebassmastermind.com. Now, this course is perfect for you if you're a beginner bassist looking to improve your technique so you can play your favorite songs or favorite bass lines on the bass guitar, or if you're an intermediate bass player and you're looking to brush up on your skills and develop more, say, finger independence and more speed on the bass guitar. So in the past, this course has actually sold for $97, but as we're coming up to Christmas, I'm going to give you all 7 videos, the whole course, for free on this YouTube channel. You can think of this as your 2021 Christmas present from me. And now all I ask in return is that you subscribe to this channel and then make sure your notifications are turned on, as I'll be releasing a lot more exciting things like this in the future. And of course, if I post any more courses, I don't want you to miss out. So make sure to watch the videos in order from day 1 to day 7. And when you watch this course, in the videos, I'll actually be talking about the 7-day technique challenge workbook. This is a PDF, and inside the workbook PDF, there is a place that you can make notes, but more importantly, there is a technique checklist which summarizes the entire course in just 3 pages. So you can download and print off this checklist as a PDF and then maybe put it on your wall or something and then refer back to it in the future. The workbook is completely free, and it's actually inside my free Facebook group for bass players. So to get access to the technique checklist and workbook, and also there's some other free courses on this Facebook group, just like this one, click the link below to join the Facebook group, and you can become part of the Bassmaster community. In this community, there are free bass lessons, courses, transcriptions, PDFs, tabs, drum loops, and obviously a community of like-minded bass players from around the world. And this group is a perfect place to ask questions if you ever feel stuck in your bass playing. So before you watch today's lesson, click the link below to become part of the Bassmaster community so you can download the workbook and the technique checklist. And then you can come back to this video. So with all of that being said, let's jump into today's lesson. Welcome back. Today's lesson is called string skipping. So today we're going to cover a couple of famous bass lines. We're going to look at some string skipping exercises. That was a mouthful to say, string skipping exercises. And we're also going to look at one of the most popular shapes on the bass guitar. So one of the most popular shapes as far as the fretting hand is concerned. We're going to really do a deep dive into the plucking hand as well. But the first thing that we really want to be aware of when it comes to playing bass, the great thing I guess about it is that it's a symmetrical instrument. So once you've learnt one shape or pattern, like the C major scale, for example, which we looked at, if you shift that up, 2 frets and start second finger on the 5th fret of the A string, you have a D major scale. Just like that, you've transposed. So transposition is fairly easy on bass guitar, but I guess the thing is you don't want to get caught up in those shapes and patterns, but that's for a whole nother lesson, maybe in a whole nother course about how to memorize the fingerboard. Using shapes and patterns when you're just starting out can be really useful. Now, aside from the C major scale, we're actually going to look at probably one of the most popular shapes on the bass guitar, which is called the octave shape. An octave is just the same note. So say we take the C, 3rd fret of the A string. It's the same note but higher. It's the same note but higher or lower. And how we can find that higher octave from this C is we can go up 2 strings. So up 2 strings and then across 2 strings. And we have the octave there. And I'm going to use the Samandal technique to play an octave, which means I'm going to play 1st finger on the C, and then this 5th fret on the G string, which is also a C. I'm going to play with my 4th finger, and that 3rd finger is going to back up this 4th finger, because we already know the 4th finger is quite weak by itself. So, and then, so just really focus on and work on going between those 2 notes, getting a nice big sound. And it might be a bit uncomfortable at first, especially if you're just starting out. So just get comfortable with the octave shape. And then the other thing you really want to watch out for is just strings ringing. So you can see if you now kind of focus on my plucking hand, you can see my floating thumb, it's moving. So at the moment it's on the E string when we play the first note. And then to play the high octave, my thumb comes down, it mutes that note. This is very slow, this is like slow motion. And then I play the higher octave, and then when I go back down, my thumb moves back to the E string and my fingers come off, so these strings are now muted, and I play that lower note. So you can see I'm using a combination of fretting hand muting and plucking hand muting, but I'm doing it very quickly. And this is why you want to practice things super slow, just like this, just so you're really focusing. Okay, and then back down again. You're really focusing on getting that really clean sound. So then when you play like funky octave bass lines faster, it sounds really clean and precise. So you can see there I'm using a combination of the floating thumb, muting in the left hand, and just making sure that third finger is backing up the fourth finger. A great bass line to practice the octave shape is Give Me Some Lovin'. So it's by the Spencer Davis Group. I think the Blues Brothers do a version as well, and I think it's in G. So what we're going to do, we're going to take that shape, but we're just going to go down string. So we're actually going to play third fret of the E string, and then let's find the octave. So we go up 2 strings, and then we go across 2 strings, and then that's the octave. And Give Me Some Lovin', the bass line is fairly quick, and we're going to break it down, but it sounds like this at performance tempo. So 3, 4. So let's break that down really slowly. So the fretting hand is just those 2 notes. So what you could do is just get used to playing, middle in the plucking hand with the higher octave, and then index with the lower octave. Go between those 2 notes, get really comfortable, and then also switch it. So you go index, higher note, middle, lower note. So in the plucking hand we got the first finger, index, second finger, middle. Just get used to that. And then we're just going to add the rhythm, which is the bass line. It's just using those 2 notes. It's just using an octave. So I'm actually going to start the bass line with my middle finger in the plucking hand. 3, 4. So I'm going middle, index, middle, index, middle, and then index for the lower string. So I'm on the middle here. If I'm playing a middle finger in the plucking hand, then I want to play index on this lower note. And you can see my thumb shifts from the E string down to the pickup. And then my thumb shifts up. So I'm on this low note, my thumb shifts up, mutes that string, and I go back up to the higher octave. So middle, index, thumb shifts up. And obviously, if you want to challenge yourself, you can start on the index finger. So index, middle. So index, middle. One of them will feel more comfortable. Index, middle. But try it with both of them. There's one more bass line that I would really love to teach you today. It's just a classic disco bass line. And we're going to do it in C. So we're going to take that octave shape, but we're going to shift the octave shape around. So we're going to be doing a little bit more in our fretting hand compared to the last example, Give Me Some Lovin'. So we're going to start 3rd fret of the A string on that C, and then we're going to play an octave. I'm probably going to go index, middle. So index, middle, because it feels a bit more comfortable for me, instead of going middle, index. Again, try it both ways round. it's only going to help you as far as technique. But the bass line sounds like this: 3, 4. Now there's a lot of things to break down there, so really all we're doing is we're playing an octave, so index, middle on the 3rd fret, so on the C, and then we're playing the octave, okay? That's the first part, and then we actually go to an open A string, and then we play the octave on the open A string, which is actually 2nd fret of the G string. And when I go to that 2nd fret of the G string, I go to the higher A, or the octave above the open A string. You can see my thumb. This is the really important thing to note about this bass line, and this is why I picked this key as well, to challenge you. So you play the open A string with your index finger, and then you shift your thumb up, so now it's muting, and then you play the higher, so I'm going to do 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. That's the hardest bit. And then 1st finger on the 1st fret, octave above. 1st finger on the 2nd fret, octave above, and then you're back at C. So all these notes, you can leave your thumb on this string, but when you go to the open A, you're going to need to move that thumb down to get that octave, or it's going to sound, you're going to get both notes ringing at once, and you don't really want that. Awesome, so your Bassmaster mission for today is to practice the disco bass line you just learnt, and the bass line to Give Me Some Lovin'. Practice them, and then you can move on to the next lesson, and I'll see you tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and before you go, just make sure to click the link below to join my free Facebook group for bass players, where you can download the Technique Challenge workbook and technique checklist, just so you can get the most out of this course. In the Bassmaster community, there are loads of free bass lessons, courses, transcriptions, PDFs, tabs, drum loops, and obviously the community of like-minded bass players from around the world. And if you click here, it will take you to the next lesson in this series.